Hello gorgeous peeps, I'm Chris from TechSpert and today we're checking out the Lenovo Tab P12. It's a 12.7 inch tablet with a supremely crisp display, quad JBL speakers, MediaTek Dimensity smarts, and a flippin' massive battery. Plus of course the usual keyboardy, stylusy pen shenanigans. And Lenovo's tagline for this 13-inch whopper is "Enjoy deeper leisure time, ladies." Not the ladies bit, I added that. But anyway, Lenovo's Tab P12 starts from €399, or you can pay 100 extra if you want the keyboard and stylusy pen bunged in the box with it. So let's whip it out, take you on a full-on tour, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So first up, what do you get in that box? Besides of course the Lenovo Tab P12, a dinky wee power adapter, USB charging cable, quick start guide, and my review sample also came with Lenovo's Tab Pen Plus stylus pen bunged in there, along with a spare nib. So Lenovo Tab P12 all set up and ready for action. And you know what, considering it's an almost 13-inch laptop, it's actually relatively skinny, only 6.9mm thick in total, or just a flea's chuff over 7mm if you include that ever so slightly jutting camera bump. And it's not too hefty either, just over 600 grams, which again, not bad at all considering this thing is wanging massive. Quite skinny bezels surrounding that display, which on the plus side means not much extra wasted space. Of course, it does mean when you're clutching the tablet like so, it's all too easy for your thumb to stray onto that screen, although touchwood doesn't seem to be bulking up the responsiveness so far. Flip the Lenovo Tab P12 around and you've got a fairly standard two-tone finish, very smart looking, very simple. Feels solidly constructed, should be tough enough to put up with a bit of rough handling being passed around between various family members. That back end is already starting to get a bit fingerprinty and greasy though, so you'll want to give it an occasional bit of buffing just to keep it looking fresh. And it comes in a choice of two colours, either Storm Grey or Oat. I guess this is Storm Grey? I have absolutely no idea what colour Oat is. I'm guessing a kind of a beige? Now when you want to log into your Tab P12, you do have a fingerprint sensor built into that button, which touchwood seems pretty responsive. And you do also have face unlock support as well. Just tap that power button, gurn at the camera for a bit, and eventually it'll recognise you. Don't know why that took quite so long because usually it's a lot faster than that. And Lenovo has chucked Android 13 on here. It's a fairly stock version of the Android experience. You've got your notifications panel and control center. If you drag up, you've got your apps and practically zero crapware as well. There's no booking.com, there's no Facebooks, there's no LinkedIn. Absolutely glorious stuff. If you swipe this away, you've got the entertainment space, which is pretty good for recommending various bits you might want to watch. You generally spend a good hour or two just basically scrolling through Netflix. Hey, look, there's me. You should definitely go give that a watch. Cracking stuff. And for the Tab P12, Lenovo is guaranteeing 2 OS updates, so hopefully it'll receive Android 14 later this year, and then Android 15 next year. And on top of that, you've also got 4 guaranteed years of security updates to help keep you safe from nasty criminal types lurking on that there internet. We will be exploring some more features on the Tab P12, but first of all, let's check out the keyboard cover, which as you can see there comes in 2 separate pieces. Check this one on the back end of the tablet. This is basically the standy up bit, and then you slap that on top of the keyboard bit. They connect together magnetically. It's a really firm partnership right there. And then you've got yourself a makeshift laptop, as long as you've got some sort of wide flat surface to rest it on, because it's not going to be particularly comfortable or easy to use on your knees. Gotta say though, that keyboard nice and spacious, helped by the fact that this is a near 13-inch tablet, so it's got plenty of space to work with. Even the cursor keys aren't particularly weeny, and you've got a double space enter key, Bananarama. And those keys are depressed into the cover when they're struck, and yeah, the travel's only 1.5mm, but it does provide that essential bit of feedback when you are touch typing. You've got some very helpful shortcut keys squirreled away on that top row, so you can quickly and easily change the volume of the tablet, you can boost the brightness, lower it, take a screen grab, mute the mics, yada yada. And that weeny little touchpad there is okay, it's not completely balls, but let's face it, why would you even use that when you've got a touch screen? Just bear in mind that that keyboard is not backlit in any way, so if you're doing your bit of tabby taps in the evenings, you can just about get by from the soft glow of that tablet screen. Otherwise it's very much touch typing all the way. And of course the keyboard does fold up over that display to help protect it when you are on the move. And if you're not actually using the keyboard, you can just yank it off, get rid of it entirely, and you've still got your stand to keep the tablet propped up if you want to kick back with a movie, bit of anime action, whatever you fancy. And yes, if you are particularly creative or you want to edit a lot of documents freestyle, Lenovo does offer its Tab Pen Plus with the P12. This has a single button. With a quick tap of that, you can bring up the on-screen menu. You can cut and paste, you can smash out a quick note on the go, just scroll a quick reminder of whatever you need to do. And naturally, you can use the stylus as a remote control if you're doing a bit of a slideshow, or for your media controls, pause and play videos. Seems to work an absolute charm in the likes of YouTube. Just pause and play with a quick tap of that button. Now you will need to charge the Tab Pen Plus via Type-C USB, just like the tablet. And when you're done with it, there is a handy wee orifice around back where you can chuck it. And that is actually a magnetic spot that's found here on the back end of the tab. Of course, one of the benefits of having such an almighty display is the fact that split screening is nice and easy. You just get the first app up that you want to then slowly drag your finger from this bottom edge. It's a gesture that takes a little while to get used to because obviously you go too hard, you're going to just go back to the home screen. You balls it up and you're going to end up in your recent apps menu. But if you get it just right, you'll pull out this wee toolbar and then just long press on whichever app you want to split screen with. And boom, your will is done. But we're not just going to stop at 2, god no, that would be wussy. Why stop at 2 when you can have up to 4 apps on screen at the same time? So here we are watching a good bit of anime while also reminiscing about previous trips, browsing a bit of the internet and also checking out some of the latest, freshest Android apps. It's not always the smoothest experience once you start flipping through all of these different apps at the same time, but it works. Unfortunately, the Lenovo Tab P12 right now doesn't support split screen multitasking in the likes of YouTube. As a big old fit when I tried to do that, but that's just because the software hasn't quite been updated yet because it worked absolutely fine on the Tab Extreme. And the Tab P12 does tend to remember your split screen arrangements, at least for a wee while. And if 4 apps ain't quite enough for you, you can actually drag further apps onto the screen, like so, get them going on in a floating window. Although frankly, this is starting to just get a bit silly now. For your storage needs, you've got a choice of 256 or 128 gigs of space. And thankfully, that can be quickly and easily expanded if needed via micro SD memory cards. Now, the Lenovo Tab P12 sports a 12.7-inch LTPS LCD display. That's low temperature polysilicon for those who don't speak geek. And this doesn't offer the same crispy contrast of an OLED panel, but it is a more affordable means of getting a high-res display. And the Lenovo Tab P12 certainly delivers in absolute buckets there. You got a 2944 by 1840 pixel resolution, which means supremely sharp visuals. Now, you know what? Colors look reasonably natural even though this isn't an OLED display. Naturally, vivid subjects are still reasonably poppy. The viewing angles aren't quite as wide as I would like, but you can still cram a couple of heads around this thing to watch a video, no worries. And contrast ain't too bad either. Of course, blacks do look more very, very dark grey rather than actually black, but HDR type content looks pretty nice all the same. But the Lenovo P12's display isn't super bright, so certainly if you are trying to watch something outdoors, you might be troubled by any glare that is reflecting off that shiny surface. It's quite a cinematic aspect ratio here on the P12 though, so if you do watch a lot of movies, you'll be surprised by almost the complete lack of letterboxing above and below that screen. And the good news is no selfie cam orifice either, because that camera lens is housed in the bezel up above the display, not intruding directly on the action. However, that screen does max out at 60Hz refresh. There's no 90Hz, no 120Hz refresh option. So it doesn't feel quite as silky smooth when you're skimming through those menus, and any apps that do support that higher refresh just won't be able to take full advantage. And it's good news on the audio front because the quad JBL speakers are a suitably beefy setup, particularly good if you're kicking back with some explodey, shooty violence like this. Go full Dolby Atmos support, and they're certainly loud enough when you max out that volume so you can clearly hear everything that is going on, even if you're working in a noisy kitchen, you're trying to enjoy some Netflix when you're outdoors with children screaming, all kinds of shenanigans. The only thing that annoys me here is that when you press the left volume button, it raises the volume, and when you press the right button, it lowers the volume, which surely is completely backwards. It'd be absolutely fine if you're watching something in portrait mode, so, you know, good for TikTok or whatever, but apart from that, what? Also, the Lenovo Tab P12 does not have a headphone jack, unfortunately, but thankfully the Bluetooth 5.1 streaming seems to work absolutely fine. Just slap on a pair of wireless headphones, job done. Now the Tab P12 sports a 13 megapixel fixed focus front camera housing that wee bezel up top, and this does a great job for your video chats, Skype, Zoom, Teams and whatever else you want to do. Not put off by harsh backlighting, you don't immediately become just like a ghostly shadow. Can capture your mug at up to 4K resolution, and those mics do a solid job of picking up on your voice as well, as long as you're not speaking all timid. And around back you've also got an 8 megapixel rear facing camera for some reason. Please listen to me, do not use a tablet to take video. You will look like a massive bell end. And especially don't use a huge off 13-inch tablet to take video, you'll look like an even massiver bell end. So now performance, and this massive tablet is powered by MediaTek's mid-range Dimensity 7050 chipset, backed by either 4 or 8 gigs of RAM, not very much of that memory at all. This is the 8 gig of RAM version, and as we saw earlier, it can just about cope with that extreme split screen multitasking. And gamers rejoice because you can play pretty much any Android title you want on this thing. Even the mighty Genshin Impact will play just fine, as long as you don't go too nuts with the graphics settings. If you do boost it up to the highest detail levels, well, you will see a fair bit of judder, lots of slowdown in that frame rate. Keep it on lower settings and it will run absolutely fine. Of course, not ideal using the touchscreen on this massive thing to control that. I definitely highly recommend hooking up a Bluetooth gamepad. I just wanted to test the general screen responsiveness, and again, big thumbs up there, no worries. You've also got full Wi-Fi 6 support on this thing. Again, no worries getting online, streaming, downloading massive files like the Genshin Impacts, 23 frickin' gigs these days. Though I don't believe there is an LTE version of the Lenovo Tab P12 on offer. And there's pretty good news on the battery front as well, because you've got an over 10,000 mAh capacity cell stuffed inside of that massive frame. And with mixed use, you should be able to get through a full workday. Certainly no worries whatsoever on this thing, even if you are split screen multitasking, working in Chrome, etc. Get hours and hours of video streaming out of it too. And that right there, in a tasty wee nutshell, is the fresh new Lenovo Tab P12. As I say, available now from €399. Hopefully I'll be able to give you a bit of actual UK pricing down in the video description. I didn't have that at the time I shot this video ahead of the official launch. What do you guys reckon? Are you tempted by this tasty 12-inch tablet? Well, it'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do poke, subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a really wonderful rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you!